Hello everybody, thank you for joining this webinar. Today we will be speaking about...
Hello everybody,
sorry,
thank you for joining
I hear myself.
this webinar.
Okay, let's start once again. Okay, so today we will be speaking about how to build intelligent apps with Microsoft AI platform. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Oleksandr Krakovetskyi. I'm the CEO of Devrain Solutions and PhD in computer science. Right now I'm the Microsoft Regional Director and Microsoft Artificial Intelligence Most Valuable Professional. Today we will speak about the Microsoft AI platform. And first of all, I would like to say that Microsoft invests a lot in intelligent services, tools, and now for the last few years Microsoft offers a lot of tools, services, infrastructure tools, deep learning frameworks, and today we will briefly I will briefly talk about some of these services and tools. So the taxonomy of these services and tools quite unclear, and when you will go to the Microsoft website you will see a lot of tools, a lot of descriptions, and it's not very obvious when you wanted to start learning the Microsoft AI platform. But we can divide all these services into several categories. So first of all, this is the pre-built AI. This is the models that already built by Microsoft, and you can use these services as a REST APIs. If you want to build custom models, so you want to perform some data engineer, you want to build own models with your own data, you might want to use custom AI services such as Azure ML Service if you prefer use Python, or ML.NET if you want to use C#. Also, there are a few services and tools on premises. For example, you can use artificial intelligence and machine learning tools for SQL Server. One of the most popular category is conversational UI, so you can build, connect, deploy, and manage intelligent bots. You can build different chatbots with natural language processing or without these options. If you would like to have an infrastructure or environment, you can use data science virtual machines that already built by Microsoft. So you don't need to set up these virtual machines, and you can just start with your modeling and machine learning. If you are a developer, you can use Azure Machine Learning Studio and Visual Studio tools for AI. Also, Azure is a powerful platform and contains a lot of services allowing you to work with data, to analyze data, to store data, and make some manipulations with data. So it's not actually in artificial intelligence, but it's a very important component to work with data. CNTK is a tool for deep learning provided by Microsoft, and also Microsoft has few programs and initiatives that will help you to learn AI. This is the AI School, AI Labs, and few programs that we will speak later. So now let's start learning with some services. Let's start from pre-built AI. Pre-built AI actually is the Azure Cognitive Services. This is the set of pre-built models already available, and you can very easily integrate the services to your existing apps. Cognitive services divided into several categories. This is the search, speech, language, vision, and some services are in labs. So let's switch to the browser and let's look on some Azure Cognitive Services. So when you go to the search engine, you can go to the Cognitive Services website, and here you can see all the categories I mentioned. This is the vision, the speech, knowledge, search, language, anomaly detection. Okay, let's start from vision. For example, here you have a couple of services. Directly from the website you can test the services, you can read all the information, and you also can try the services on a website. For example, this is the analysis of an image, so you can upload image and see some insights, what's actually described on this image. For example, here we can see that, okay, we have some person, we have some subway train, we have land vehicle, also we have couple of tags, we have a description, and here we can see some object. Also we have some additional information about this image. For example, image format, image dimensions, is this a black or white image, does this image contain adult content, what's the adult score of this image, etc, etc. So all this information is extracted directly from the image. You can play with different images and see the result. So this is the HTML presentation of what you will see, but the information about your analysis will be in JSON format. You can also upload own image and test how algorithms working for your images. This is the face recognition service. So here you can find several scenarios how you can use it. For example, this example shows how to test if two different images belongs to the same person. So here you can find that confidence is 73%. That means that probably this is the same person. So you can compare different person, and here you can see that the confidence is changed and now it's at 22%. So probably these two persons are not the same. Let's move forward. And let's look at custom vision service. So if we will go to the custom vision AI, I log it with my account, and here I can sorry, that's Azure Service custom vision sign up. Sorry, okay, let's keep the service. So custom service, this is the service allows you to create a custom image recognition models. For example, you can train your model, you can take different categories, you can take your own pictures and create a model for image recognizer. For example, this is the hot dog or not hot dog. So this is the service that you can use on your own images. Let's move to another category. For example, language. This is also one of the most interesting and most useful services. For example, text analytics allows you to extract insights from a text. For example, if you have a sentence, I had a wonderful trip to Seattle and enjoyed seeing the Space Needle, here you can see some insights from this text. This is the English language with 100% confidence. You can see the key phrases, Seattle, wonderful trip, Space Needle. You can find a sentiment analysis, which is positive because it's 98%. Also, we have some linked entities, so you can refer directly to the Seattle Wikipedia page, for example. Here you can see also another services such as translator, content moderator, Also, you can see a Q&A maker and language understanding, but I will be talk about these services a little bit later. Here you can see also the search and speech services. So like it states, search, this is several search services for images, for videos, for entities, for news, being auto-suggest, and some other services that you can also use directly in your apps. Speech, I think it's also obvious. You can use speech to text, text to speech, and build your custom models for speaker recognition. So this is briefly what services you can use as a cognitive services, and you don't need to spend a lot of time. You don't need to have a lot of data science background or machine learning background. It's just the web services that you can integrate directly to your applications. Also, I would like to say a few words about labs. Some projects, before they become available in public, they started in labs. For example, I think this project is can be interesting to the students and people who study PhD. This is the project Academic Knowledge. Let's see the example of how you can use this service. So, for example, you found a GitHub repo with some information, with some algorithms, and here you can find the reference to some science paper. This is the simple algorithm for identifying abbreviations, definitions in biomedical text, and you want to find this paper. For sure you can use search engine, and probably you will find the PDF or maybe some additional information about this paper, but also you can use a Microsoft academic website. So when we search this paper, you can easily find all the abstracts, all the tags, all other information, and here you can see the links to this article. So it's quite simple. We can search for different, it can be yeah, this is the website, this is the PDF. Yes, so here you can see the full text of this paper. One thing which is very awesome is that here you can see also the references, and here you can find some other references that used in this paper. So here you can find all these references as links with all information, so you can go through all the graph of all the citations, references, etc., etc. Also, we have a related tab, so you can see what papers are related to your work. So if you are studying in the university or you're trying to do some PhD work or master work, so this is a very perfect source of information. And the good idea is all this information is also available through the API. So you can use it, also integrate this information into your application. So this is the main idea of cognitive services, when you don't need to program yourself anything if you don't have any data science knowledge, but you want to utilize some artificial intelligence on your current applications. So let's move forward, and now let's talk about custom AI and tools. So here we have a couple of tools such as ML.Net, Azure ML Studio, and Azure ML Service. Let's start from ML.Net. All machine learning tasks are usually done by Python libraries. So there were no library for .NET developers for a long time, and 1 year ago Microsoft announced the ML.NET. This is the open source library, allows you to build machine learning pipelines directly in .NET code. So ML.NET contains a lot of instruments, algorithms, and other tools allowing you to prepare data, to create pipelines, to test models, to train models, to test models, and use these models directly from your .NET code. I also would like to show you some quick demo. So if you will go to github.com/.NET Machine Learning, you will find the source of this library, and also there is another repo in GitHub that calls Machine Learning ML.NET samples. So let's look on these projects. So here you can find couple of examples of how to use ML.NET. This is one of the example. This is the poor .NET application. Here you can find the data set about taxi transactions. So it can be passenger count, trip time in seconds, trip distance, payment time, and fare amount. Our task is predict the price of the trip based on our database. So here you can find the taxi fare test CSV, and also you can find the taxi fare train CSV. So this is two data sets that will be used for training and for testing our models. So here you can find the architecture of this pipeline. So we need to create a ML ML context. We need to create, train, evaluate, and save the model. Then we can test a single prediction, and then we can plot the regression chart that will show our results and the actual results and predicted results. So here is the process pipeline. We can add, we can prepare data. We can set what columns we need to use, what will be the input columns, what will be the output columns. Then we can say what approach, what methods, what algorithms we want to use. After that we train the model, then we evaluate the model, and after that we can use this model for prediction. Let's open this solution. So now we have a training of the model. So we have approximately 100,000 data items. So it's quite big. You can see that the performance is quite good. The training was very fast. And here you can find the predicted and actual data. So predicted was 1564, and the actual value was 15 and 5, so it's quite close. And here you can find, you can see also the result of the measured and predicted results. So it's quite easy to use. This library is still in preview, so they have I think one release per month, and hopefully we will see the stable version of upcoming Microsoft Build conference. Maybe not, I don't know. One more tool. This is the Azure Machine Learning Studio. The main idea of this service is to have a tool, a web tool, allowing you to construct your ML pipelines without programming. So Azure ML Studio contains predefined algorithms, components for data processing, for selecting models, for configuration models. So all you need to do is configure the pipelines Let's see how it's working. So this is the Machine Learning Studio. Here you can find the main menu. You can have few projects, you have few experiments. So actually your file and your environment is called experiment. You can create a web service based on your experiment after all validation and all experiment was done. So for example, if we will go to the specific experiment, here you can see the web tool. Here you can find a lot of components that you can use with some combination. So you can save your database, you can connect to different sources, you can use different data format conversions, you can enter data manually, you can export data, you can import data, couple of data transformation options. Excuse me, I need the charger, just a second. Okay, sorry. Let's continue. So this is the components for feature selection. This is the machine learning algorithms you can use for evaluation, for scoring, for training. You can also use the OpenCV library models. You can write Python scripts. If something is missing, you can integrate your Python scripts. Also, you can integrate your R language modules. You can use statistical functions, text analytics, time series, and a lot of other components. So this is the example how it looks like. For example, this is the example of pipeline of experiment. So you need to take some data, you need to select columns that you want to use from this data set. Maybe you need to normalize data. Split data allows you actually to split your data into test and evaluational data sets. Then you can use different methods and algorithms for regression, for classification, or maybe for other tasks. Train model, score model, and evaluate model. So this is the standard pipeline you can use. Of course, it's up to you how you will design this pipeline. At the end, you will see the results of execution of this experiment, and after all, you can create a web service that will that you can integrate into your existing app. So Machine Learning Studio is free while you use it as a demo when you create your experiment, but if you would like to use it in production, you will pay for web service execution. Now Azure Machine Learning Studio contains approximately 40, 50 algorithms from anomaly detection, classification, clustering, regression. Also have some text analytics options, but from my perspective it's better to use cognitive services for text analysis, because here they have such several services, but it's better to use a cognitive services for this task. One more service that was launched I think half in a year. This is the Azure Machine Learning Service. Unfortunately, Microsoft is not very good in naming of the services, so it's not obvious if Azure Machine Learning Studio and Azure Machine Learning Service it's the different or the same services. But this is different services, and if you are a Python developer, for example, you might be preferred to use Azure Machine Learning Service for your experiment. So also let's see the example. So part of Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Service is in Microsoft Azure Notebooks. So here it's a Jupyter server, and you can write your Python code and execute it in a cloud. That's quite convenient because if you are not from Microsoft world and you prefer to use Python, for example, for your machine learning experiments, you still can use Microsoft Azure for this and store all this information in Microsoft Azure environment. One more feature that was announced some time ago, it's an automated ML, which is a part of Azure Machine Learning Service. Automated ML allows you to identify the best machine learning pipelines for your data. So what's the problem with machine learning pipelines? If you're a data scientist, you need to perform a lot of actions and you need to do a lot of steps to get some accurate result. So on the top of the picture you can see the common pipeline for the ML task. You need to find data, you need to prepare data, you need to do feature engineering, you need select a model that will perform the best for your data. You need to train model, you need to turn hyperparameters, and if you will do something wrong during this pipeline, you will get not the accurate results. Also, the problem is that there is no understanding what the algorithm or method will be working the best for your data. Also, each algorithm contains a lot of parameters, and you never know what parameters will be working the best for your data. So automated ML can solve this issue. So what you need to do is to prepare your data and say what task you want to solve. Is this the classification task or clustering task or maybe regression task? And automated ML will try different scenarios, different parameters, different algorithms, and will compare all these algorithms and will select the best one. So this is a very cool feature, and that can earn a lot of time for data scientists. So let's move to conversational AI, a chatbots platform, and here we have a couple of services such as Bot Framework, Lewis, and Q&A Maker. Let's start from some basic stuff. When we build the chatbots, the biggest problem is how machines should understand people. So when you type something to the chatbot, or it can be not only a chatbot, can be any application that supports the input. So how you need to understand, how machine will understand what actually you type. So this name entity recognition is the answer. and how it's working. So let's look at a sentence. Book a table for free at Barney's tonight. This is a very understandable phrase for the people, but it has no sense for robot, for a chatbot. That's why we need to extract some insights, extract some information from this sentence. And the result of this extraction will be that knowledge that we want to book a restaurant, and this is the intent. 3, in this context, maybe the number of people that wants to book the restaurant. Place might be a Barney's Burger, San Francisco, California, if we have some additional information from a user input, or we can ask user, so what Barney's did you mean? And tonight transform to the daytime object, which is understandable by machines. So this is the very basic illustration how named entity recognition works. Another question, how to do that? So for this purpose, LUIS AI can be used. LUIS AI, this is the language understanding service from Microsoft, allowing you to create linguistic models for your chatbots, or maybe for other software as well. So what you need to do is prepare your design your linguistic model. What does it mean to prepare your linguistic model? You need to say what intents and what entities you want to extract from a text. So here you can find that intent, this is the restaurant booking, and people, place, and date, this is the entities for such model. So on a first stage, you need to design what intents you want to extract and what entities and on what type you want to extract. The second, you need to add utterances, which is the phrases that people can type, ask to chatbot. Then we need to train, test, and improve model, because we never, it's very hard to predict how people will ask all these questions. That's why we need to train and retrain this model each time when some person sends the information or a phrase which was not mentioned on your model. Then you can publish and deploy your LUIS model and use, for example, in chatbots. So let's see the example how to build a LUIS model. So this is my environment. I will create a new app. So this is my environment. It's quite simple. Here I can see the intents and entities. Let's create new intent. For example, I will add a flight booking. For example, I just want to design my linguistic model. And for entities, I would like to add from city. Okay, let it be just from, and to. So this will be the destination of my flight. Now I need to add some utterances, but before this I would like to also show you the pre-built entities. So here I can add also a pre-built domain entities. So here you can see the calendar location, calendar subject, communication message, entertainment content rated. So you have already a lot of pre-built domain entities, so you don't need to start over. You just can add any of these entities to your model. The same, and also you can add a pre-built entities. For example, you can say datetime, dimension, email, geography, key phrases, numbers. So this is the standard entities that that you can use, that already integrated into the LUIS. I also will add few of them. So here you can see that we have a from. This is the simple to simple, and we have a couple of pre-built entities. Now we need to add a few utterances. For example, book me please a flight from London to Kiev. So here we can see that these utterances will be classified as a flight booking. Here you can see that London is detected as a geography object. Also, I want to tag it as from to. Please buy a ticket to London. Okay, maybe not London. Okay, London doesn't matter, but still. So here I can say to, and also flight booking. Please reserve me a ticket from Lviv to Warsaw. So I need to tag all these utterances, and it's recommended to have at least 30-40 utterances per each intent. I will not spend a lot of time on that, so I just will stop with these 3 utterances. Now I need to train the model. It took some time, that is. Now I want to test, and here I can say please book my flight. Here you can find what Lewis extracted from my text. First of all, it say the top scoring intent is flight booking with confidence of 76.5%. So it's quite good probability, and we can understand that this is the flight booking request. If I say book me a flight to London, here you can find much bigger score. So now it's 91%, and here you also can find that the model recognized the entity to. So London was recognized as entity 2. So having this information, I mean that you can get the flight booking intent, and having entity 2, you can, for example, ask a person what's your destination of flights, because here it's not set. Of course, if you have much more intents and entities, and they more complicated, you need more test data to build your linguistic model. Also, Lewis is not so simple, so you have additional options to add patterns, to add also sentiment analysis. So you can also find with what sentiment user ask this question. So you can get some insights with the Lewis, and you can build your custom linguistic model and use it within the chatbot. So this is the main so this is how Lewis can be used. Another service that I want to show you, this is the Q&A maker. A lot of chatbots are built from FAQs, frequently asked questions. So, for example, I found this resource. This is the frequently asked questions of Microsoft. They have couple of questions and answers, and I want to build a chatbot based on this information. So here what I need to do is add this URL to my knowledge base. I can add as many sources as I want. I can add URL. I can add a file if I store my model locally. Also here I can see the Q&A chit chat, the comic. So when I created my my knowledge base, I was asked to select a personality. It can be a professional, it can be standard, and it can be comic. What is a personality? When we talk to chatbot, we use something like a hi, are you bot, how you doing? So this is a very standard phrases that people use to talk with chatbot, even they know that they talk to chatbot. So for these purposes, chit chat is used. You also can add additional files and build the knowledge base for your specific domain. So let's see how it's working. So here you can see different questions and the answers that will be given to these questions. Let's save and train. So as I said, we have now two sources. One source is from this website. We don't need to enter this information to Q&A maker, because this service can parse all these questions and answers automatically. And the second one is a chit chat. So for example, if I type what's your age or are you young, I will be answered with some standard phrases. Now let's talk to our chatbot. So this is not the ready to use chatbot, it's just the test. But this is how. But here you can check how service will answer to your questions. For example, I can say hi. So now you see the hey, which is the answer of chit chat. How are you? For example, living the dream. So now it's answered by personality, but now I want to ask something connected to the Microsoft Windows and Office. For example, I can take product key, and I will be given an answer. Product key is 25 character code, so it will found the best answer from the provided Q&As. If you will click the inspect, you can see also some additional technical information. For example, the confidence score, which is 90 in this case, and also you can see a couple of answers that might be an answer to this question, and here you can select what is the most correct answer for this question. Also, you can add alternative phrasing. It means that you don't, because people can ask these questions differently, so for all answers you can add as many questions as possible. And this is also the iterative process, and if you see that bot does not know the answer to the question, you can take this phrase, add it to the knowledge base, and retrain your model, and your chatbot will become more smarter after few iterations. Microsoft Bot Framework, this is the framework, SDK, and services, Azure services, allowing you to create chatbots. First of all, you have a lot of messengers and platforms. You have a SMS, you have website, you have Telegram, Teams, Skype for Business, Kik, email, Cortana, and a lot of other services. And you want so the first problem is that you need to re-implement your chatbot for each platform. So with Microsoft Bot Framework, you don't need to do that, because all you need to do is create your web service that will get the input string, prepare the answer, and send it back to the chatbot. And all other stuff will be done by Bot Framework. So I started working with Microsoft Bot Framework I think 2 years ago, and during these 2 years this product becomes better and better. It has a lot of integrations with Lewis, with Q&A, with batch services. Also recently conversation skills were introduced. So this is the skill is some simple functionality that can be reused for different chatbots. For example, it's a scheduler in meeting, for example, in Teams or Google Calendar. So this is the skill that you can use within your chatbots. Also, you can use third-party tools from Microsoft, from other vendors with no problem. Also, let me show how it's working. So this is the Azure portal, and this is my bot channel registration resource. I already deployed my web service to the Azure, and this web service is responsible for getting information from a user or a chatbot, prepare the answer, and send it back. Now I want to register my bot and play and configure it to be used on different platforms and messengers. So just wait a little bit, it will to load it. Okay, so first of all I would like to show here you can test your chatbot, you can interact with it, you can get some questions and receive answers. So this is the test chatbot, and here you can have channels that you can configure without any programming. Okay, let's switch to settings. I will show you. So this is the messaging endpoint that is used, and it's single endpoint. We don't need to configure several endpoints. It's just one. Of course, we have some Microsoft application ID, we have some analytics IDs, for example, for application insights, so we can manage who used our chatbot, how many users, some cohort analysis, and some other analytics. And here you can configure different channels where you want your bot to be working. So direct line is just the API, so you can integrate it different with the REST API. It can be Facebook and Microsoft Teams, Skype, Slack, and some other channels. So this is the connected channels. Also there is Cortana and a few other services that you can attach. So as I said, you don't need to program it, you just need to configure these services. Yes, you have some steps you need to do. For example, you need to register a Facebook app, you need to get a secret, you need to configure permissions, etc., etc. But after you will get all this information, you just can go to to the configure some channel, you can enter all this information, and your chatbot will be working on all these channels. So this is quite interesting. You can also combine with cognitive services, as I said, with sentiment analysis, with Q&A maker, with Lewis. Also, you can add a speech integration, so people can not just type sentences or some text, they also can talk to your bots, etc., etc. So that's quite very useful and quite easy to use service, allowing you to create a chatbots for or maybe integrate your chatbot functionality to the existing apps. So some few other services and tools you can use. This is the data science virtual machines. The major idea is you have a lot of tools and libraries for development, for building apps. It can be deep learning, machine learning, it can be visualization tools, it can be C#, it can be Python, it can be R. And if you will start configuring your machine learning and data science environment, you will find a lot of you will spend a lot of time for that, because we have a lot of tools, a lot of environments. Of course you can do it manually, but you will spend a lot of time on that. That's why you can use the data science virtual machines. You can select from Windows and Linux machines, and you can see so on a website you can see what tools actually installed on different data science virtual machines. So you can start your data science experiments in 10-15 minutes after virtual machine is set up through your Azure subscription. It's quite easy. It's quite easy to configure, and if you don't need your environment, you can just shut up your virtual machine and you will not spend your resources. One more tool that is used is a Microsoft Cognitive Toolkit. This toolkit is used for deep learning scenarios. I can't say that it's easy to use. It's quite complicated. It uses the specific language for the experiments, but if you would like to, if you have a knowledge with C++ and want to learn more about deep learning, so Cognitive Toolkit can be an option. The one of the biggest problem when you are a data scientist or data engineer is where to get data for your research, because a good data set is very valuable, and sometimes you can spend a lot of time just for searching this database or for creating it. So that's why Microsoft Research creates a project. It's MS Open Data. Let me open this. So this is the collection of data sets which are used by Microsoft Research team. Here you can find different categories, for example, computer science, healthcare, and here you can see the data sets and data. Also you can see who used this data. I mean, what projects utilize this data. For example, exercise recognition from wearable sensor is used by this project, so you can learn more about this project, who is working on this project, some videos, some maybe GitHub repos. Also you can see the publications, maybe some additional videos, and now you can now you can understand so what the data set is used for this project. So it's quite convenient. I'm very personally I very like this project, because here you can see how to prepare data sets, how they can look like, and also you can use it in your research as well. Let's move forward. One more resource that might be interesting for you. This is the AI demos. So it's quite obvious what this website do. This is the demos of how you can use the AI for language understanding, for computer vision, and other services. So, for example, video indexer, road planner. So here you can go to these examples and see how artificial intelligence, machine learning can be used for different scenarios. So that quite interesting resource. If you would like to learn about artificial intelligence and Microsoft AI platform, you can use an AI school resource. This is the set of resources and courses for different directions. For example, if you would like to learn how to build the chatbots, you can go to the conversational AI and see what's the paths, what do you need to learn, and you will see modules, videos with some additional information. So this is the easiest way to start learning about Microsoft AI, and yeah, and it's quite easy to use, and it has information for people even if you don't know a lot about data science and artificial intelligence, but you want to use Microsoft AI platform for your work. One more resource is AI Lab. AI Lab is used for showing some cool examples of how to use artificial intelligence. AI demos and AI labs, the difference is AI labs, it's very early prototypes of how you can use artificial intelligence for different scenarios. For example, sketch to code. This is the example project when you can draw by hand the text box, the buttons, and the computer vision algorithms will transform your written or drawn form into the HTML code. So this is just one example of how machine learning can evolve in the future. Also, I think it's a very interesting project. Also, Microsoft has two programs for data scientists and for startups. The first one is AI for Earth. This is the program for startups and non-profits and profit companies. If you have some projects connecting with with pollution, with environment, with global warming, how to save plants, how, I don't know, so some crazy ideas connected to our planet and how to save the planet. So you can get some grant for your startup or for your organization. So here you can see the climate, agriculture, water, biodiversity, and you can find also a few examples of what projects Microsoft is looking for. Very similar idea is another program which is called AI for Accessibility. So if you have idea, startup or non-profit project that can improve the life of the people that have issues with accessibility, so this is the good program for you. it can be different services. It can be, for example, a service that can recognize some text or maybe some objects for blind people. It can be anything that can make the life of these people better. So this is also a grant program, and if you have some ideas, you also can apply. So this is a very quick and brief introduction of Microsoft AI platform. It's rather huge, and each service very interesting, and of course 1 hour is not enough to showcase all the scenarios and to show how you can use, but at least you will understand what Microsoft AI platform is, what services you can use right now, what programs you can apply, and AI school that you can learn Microsoft AI projects better. And yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you for your time, and if you will have any questions, so please reach me in Facebook, in Skype, or by email, and I will be glad to help you. Thank you for your time.